Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I am good. How are you?
Me too, sir. It's nice to see you again.
So actually, there was a one meeting. I think another meeting was going on.
Okay.
So when we are planning to start?
So we will start from 12 o'clock. We will see the means list of attendees.
Okay.
So in total, we have 200 plus students, means candidates who have registered for this session.
Hmm.
So hopefully within minutes of 5, we will find our all attendees for this session and we will then proceed.
Okay. Fine.
Good morning, Krishnan sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Krishnendu.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
How are
Nice
you?
meeting you.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you. भाई आप तो Qualcomm में है security.
So actually,
The
he's
epitome. It is now the dream job for many engineers today. And not only engineers, you know, in security you require engineering minds, not by qualification, but even engineering minds.
Sir, a
Huh?
small correction. He is Mr. Dhrubajyoti Majumdar,
Okay.
HR, means senior HR, Eastern
Right.
region.
L&T. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
engineering giant. So we will be absolutely, our students will be interested. In fact, people who are in the house today, they will be much more interested to figure it out, you know, the scope and the landscape of L&T, the emerging areas. So those will be the areas of discussion.
Yeah, actually, I joined L&T almost 14 years back. So
Oh, lovely.
I joined here as an executive, and now I have raised.
Do you have people from my alma mater, BIT Sindri?
Yeah. VIT Sindri, we are having.
Yes, I know, because these people are all
VIT
in...
Sindri, I have also VIT Sindri and VIT Mesra.
Acha?
Both of the people are there. We are in a very senior position.
Yes.
Organization. So you are a pass out of VIT Sindri.
Yeah, I'm passed out of BIT Sindri Electrical.
Okay. So today you are operating from home or from the campus itself?
No, from my office.
Okay.
From my office room.
Actually, thankfully today we are off. That's the reason. Otherwise,
that's
I will
good.
be in the office only.
Okay. Right. So you're waiting for Mr. Vijay to join?
Yes, sir. Mr. Vijay and Archan.
And Archan happens to be our alumnus.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dhruvajyoti.
Okay.
Yeah, he is our computer science alumnus.
Great.
And right now he's also with the IT sector in the networks security area.
Okay, these are the all those who are registered. They are the first year students.
So they are the final and the third year students.
Final and the third year students. Okay. I understood.
Also, I asked that you should send it to the faculty members of engineering also, and all the engineering students can So the mails have reached them now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because with so many online meetings and seminars and these webinars, people are really, and that too, this is of 2 hours duration.
Yeah.
So it will be a challenge for us. It will be a challenge for us to retain people. But hopefully we can manage.
No, this is a very pertinent challenge, and this is a very generic type of challenges that we are all facing. Not only
Yes,
from the students, even if we in nowadays when we are having the training sessions, that is also a big task that to uh, connect with the audience in a virtual mode and make them be there for 2 hours or maybe for the whole day. So between we have to do some certain activities and to break them into the cohort so that they can be in touch and can be connected with the program for a long period of time. Otherwise, it's a very difficult task itself.
Yes, it's very difficult. Very difficult to have them in for an hour,
and
let alone 2
particularly
hours.
for the Gen Z, who are the very much inclined towards the social media. So
Right.
make them engaged is a very big task.
Yes.
So that is how. So I am also nowadays little bit stuck up with various industry and corporate connect.
सुदीप बोल रहा हूँ.
Monday I am having with Globe.
वो ज्वाइन नहीं किया अभी तक मीटिंग.
Okay.
Okay. ठीक. So basically, sir, what we have seen that we have 200 plus registered for this event, and now we have only 35. So it's increasing. So we will wait for some minutes, ma'am.
Okay.
Our second speaker, Mr. Vijay Banda, he will be joining us by 1 o'clock because he has some emergency today. So he mailed me in the morning. So he'll be soon joining us.
No issue. We can wait for a couple of minutes then. Let people join. Yes. We know that this is what the thing is. Normally it is the IST which people follow.
Yes.
সেই জন্য সবাইকে না এটা ভালো করে ইনভলভ করতে হয়। প্রোগ্রাম কোঅর্ডিনেটর, সিআরটিটি টিম যারা রয়েছে, ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং তুমি দেখছো, এগুলোকে একদম ম্যান্ডেটরি করে দাও যাতে সবাই প্রেজেন্ট থাকে। নাহলে পরে এত পেন্স নিয়ে সবাই করে, এত সময় দেয়, এটার তো একটা ইউটিলিটি হওয়া উচিত।
Sure.
ঠিক আছে, সবাই জয়েন করুক নাকি? You can also tell the program coordinators of engineering and the faculty to also ensure that their students are joining.
Yes, sir. Already means
You have said.
Already shared the information to everyone, sir.
Okay.
Actually, our third year exam is going on. So many of the students are stuck up there. What I have received the information from the faculty itself. I went for these examinations. It means many faculties are also there. So this is a reason too.
বাইরে থেকে কেউ জয়েন করেন? বাইরে কেউ আছে?
Yes.
We also have external people, Sudhir? External?
External, yeah.
External people are also there. Okay.
So our branding team has already put this to our external ones. So in total, we are about to reach 50. Let's say within a couple of minutes, we will find a 3-digit number.
Hmm. So where is Arpan? He should join.
He's joining within a minutes, ma'am. So
Huh?
he just called me. He's joining.
Shudip, you can start this conversation, at least the intro part, so that the ice breaking can continue. The participants are already here, so you can preliminary talk about today's session and the panelists, and request the participants to bear with us for maybe a couple of minutes more, so that we can start. Right?
Sure, sir. So a little request. So can we wait for Archan? He is about to join anytime. So Archan has already joined us. Am I audible to everyone? Krishnan sir. Sir Krishnan, Archan has already joined us.
Mr. Vijay has already joined us.
No, he will be joining by 1 o'clock. He has some emergency, that's why.
Okay, okay.
So can we begin our session?
Yeah, you can start your session because you're already past time.
Sure. So on the behalf of NSHM Knowledge Campus, I would like to express my sincere thanks to our honorable speaker, our host, and each and every participants of the session. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Virtual Corporate Meet. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Sudeep Kumar, and I take the opportunity to represent Corporate Relation Talent Transformation Placement Department of NHS Knowledge Campus. I take care of engineering portal. So for today's topic is engineering in India is changing, will need new skill, which is mainly focused on around few themes, which I want to elaborate, like national education policy, transforming education, focus on professional and engineering educations, the issues, challenges, and opportunities for this generation J to generation Alpha, the emerging careers and scope of next human resources in engineering and IT sectors. And last but not least, the new avatar of blended education. So in conclusion, we can say that re-engineering the engineering education for its bright future. So I'm extremely excited and feeling privileged to introduce our today's honorable speaker to the audience. Our first speaker for this session is Mr. Dhrubajyoti Majumdar, Regional HR Manager, L&T Group. Before saying, I just want to introduce himself by saying that a result-oriented HR professional with 22 years of rich experience across industries, presently for almost last 13 years, associated with the biggest engineering conglomerate and heading the Eastern region for the last 6 years. Possesses a strong interpersonal effectiveness with positive attitude and keen learning orientation blended with sound domain knowledge in HR. Keen interest in sharing experience and thoughts to budding talents. Also an author of several articles with unique point of view of practical life human resource practice of industry. He has completed his executive program in HRM from Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, and a PGDBM with specialization in HRD from Institute of Modern Management, Calcutta in 1997. So we have our second speaker, Mr. Vijay Banda, whom we uh, hope to be with us by 1 o'clock. Our third speaker is Mr. Archan Mukherjee. So he's our alumnus too, holding MTech from Computer Science and Engineering with a total experience of more than 5 years in networking domains. And currently he is as network administrator and team lead at Tata Consultancy Services. Now, without further ado, I just want to take privilege to introduce our host for the session, Professor Krishnendu Sarkar, a former scientist of CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, social worker, former head of academics of NSHM, and presently Chief of Strategy and Impact of NSHM Knowledge Campus. He is also the director of NSHM College of Management and Technology, Kolkata, and was accorded with the title of Master Educator by Dr. Edward De Bono of Lateral Thinking fame. I request Krishnendu sir to begin the session for today, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Deep. And welcome once again, Mr. Dhrubajyoti, out here, and very happy to have you here representing LMT and the engineering giant. And I'm sure that the participants here today are waiting to hear from you on the emerging opportunities and also the present opportunities given the special situation in which we are in. Is manufacturing still alive? Is something a big exclamation mark or a question mark, which LNT, from LNT side, you can answer it best. And also very happy to have our alumnus, Mr. Arpan, and who's from BTech Computer Science Engineering. And it is quite a privilege to have him here as an alumnus of NSHM. And he is with Network Administration and a team lead with TCS. Mr. Vijay, as you have already heard, that due to some emergency, he could not join us right now, but he will be joining us late in the day by 1 p.m. or so. So I think we can start today's interaction. Let me brief you with the 4 key points, the 4 takeaways, why we all are here. Because we have been in so many online meetings and webinars, and this is a kind of a 2-hour meeting. So there has to be some kind of a takeaways, right? There has to be a value to the time. Now the takeaways first we will try to understand from the panelists in particular that what this new national education policy has in store for all of us in general and in specific to the engineering education. And secondly, our focus will be on the current issues, challenges, and the opportunities in the engineering sector. And then how we can transform engineering education, keeping in mind the generation Z and the generation Alpha learners, right? So that will be again something very of interest to the educators in particular, and also the learners. And there is also, as part of transforming education, Ministry of Education and Government of India, now there is this new concept of taking college to the workplace, right? And when the college or the university goes to the workplace, it involves the workplace people, people who are into some avocations. They cannot join the good part of the day for education, but they can join in a blended format, and it will be deemed as a regular degree education, not as a part-time or a distance education. So this is something which will appeal to the new generation, in particular, people in the workplaces. And the finally, our takeaways will be, I mean, this house should be unanimous in understanding the very fact that we need to re-engineer our engineering education, starting from the curriculum to the pattern of teaching to the activity-based learning, and how we can be visible through our products, our services, our ideas. So all put together, I am looking forward to this interactive session, like all of you present here. And let us begin with the ice-breaking kind of a thing. And most of you have heard and probably have read about the national education policy. Now, I want to check with the industry, a very big industry like L&T, and Mr. Dhrubajyoti representing the HR. He's the regional head of HR. Now, I mean, is industry interested about this national education policy and how it is striving to transform the education? Over to you, Mr. Dhrubajyoti.
Yeah, good afternoon to Dr. Krishnendu, my fellow panelists, and my dear students of NSHM Knowledge Campus. Let me brief about that some of the points that in national education policy is all about, which some of the points are quite uh, glaring, and to it will definitely go to a new heights. One of these are this the bagless day. The students have 10 bagless days in a year, during which they are being exposed to the various vocation of their choice, maybe the informal type of internship. Another part is going local, top rated global universities to be facilitated to come to India, top Indian institutions to be encouraged to go for the global.
Mr. Mojumdar, can you be a bit louder, please? I think if you can just have your microphone near
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
clear. Yeah.
So
Yes.
is it better now?
Excellent. It is excellent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So two three areas which catches my attention. That one is that bagless day, the school students or the college students during the uh, tenure of their, they will be having 10 bagless days in a year, during which they will be exposed to the vocation of their choice. That is their informal internship. Going local, the top rated global universities to be facilitated to come to India, and top Indian institutions to be encouraged to be global. And also that board of UGC and AICTE also recommended to be merged. And there will be certain aspects where national national education policy has majorly thrown into the light. That is coding is one of the area, that coding and internship from the class 6, and multidisciplinary flexible choice of subject in classes 9 to 12. So in a nutshell, what we can say, that national education policy, which is a major paradigm shift from the existing rationale of our entire education system. It is a major paradigm shift, and it is more driven towards the practical field that we are talking about for last maybe over a 4 to 5 decades, that Indian education system needs certain amount of boost or change in the paradigms, which is going to happen now, which will be visible now. So this is one of the area. I am having a meeting with the coordinators and the associates of AICT on Monday on the curriculum change in which in of the major diploma engineering colleges invited me to change in the diploma courses, which is maybe the civil, electrical and electronics, maybe in the mechanical field, where certain amount of change in the curriculum is required based on the rationale that national education policy is prescribing to make the curriculum more focused towards the profession rather than as of now or the existing way the AICT norms. Following the AICT norms, the colleges are sometimes finding it very difficult to make the students industry ready. So industry readiness actually demands certain amount of exposure not only in the industry, but the course curriculum itself should be having exposure or the focus towards the industry driven. It should be more and more industry driven. Suppose I am just giving you an example. We are having I am looking after the vertical which is mainly focused on the civil constructions. And in the civil constructions, we are having the different types of building, maybe the commercial, residential buildings. We are having the buildings in which are places of worship, which are convention center. Even if the Statue of Unity that we have uh, built up, which is the highest statue, and also we are making the or constructing the various other types of industry. Even if factories, we are factory structure we are preparing, we are making the factory structures. Formwork is one of the major area where our profitability, productivity is very much required for a successful project completion with a desired amount of margin and uh, utility. But if you see that in the BTech curriculum of the civil, or maybe in the diploma curriculum in the civil, formwork, shuttering, reinforcement is not playing a major role into the book. There are very small areas are being covered called as a formwork. But in actual industry, in across the construction industry, formwork, shuttering, reinforcement, these are the one of the pillars of project completion, project delivery with cost optimization areas. So this is a overlooked area. These are the overlooked area. No one has bothered to include those subjects into the into the books or maybe into the thorough knowledge. I am with the campus recruitment for the last almost a decade. And every time I am going to a college, I am visiting various IITs, NITs, and the private engineering colleges. Every time we have seen the people are not at all, or the students are not at all aware of the facts that what is actually formwork, what it actually plays the role in the civil engineering. Similarly, the some knowledge about the finishing, fabrication, mechanical fabrication, some of the areas it needs to be addressed. So now after the change in the education policy, maybe these are the areas this can be nurtured and honed by the colleges as well, because AICTE itself is going to change into that direction. Otherwise, our students will never get an industry ready stamp. At least none of the colleges can demand that we are producing the industry ready students until and unless
Sorry
these
to,
areas are the
yeah,
to be
Mr.
addressed.
Majumdar, on behalf of the house, because see, let me tell you, you have been visiting so many colleges for campus interviews. Now, I'm sure that you must be facing this question that talking about industry readiness, the last 1.5 years, it was very difficult because of this corona pandemic.
Correct.
And they have all some students have already graduated during this period without this industry readiness per se or the internships. Now, how as L&T you are addressing this? Are you offering any bridge kind of a program for them? Or how is your mechanism like in terms of handling these batches, this last 2 years batches, who
No,
probably are short with
yeah,
industry?
yeah, yeah. I understand. Actually, the industry scenario was very bleak for the last couple of years. That is very true. But at the same time, our business has performed quite well. In fact, that order booking in infrastructure sector are not bad. Even we have secured one of the major hospital project in Patna, which is a value of 5,000 crores, which is the biggest ever hospital building project across the nation. So, industry scenario is not bad. Thing is that what we have did that we understood that these are the during this process the recruitment maybe have come down drastically, particularly the campus recruitment has drastically came down. But at the same time, we have hired a considerable number of people from the various NITs and IITs. That is true. At the same time, we have also not stopped hiring the diploma engineers also. The thing that we have did that since the remote working is the now becoming an order of the day, but the construction industry cannot reach to a level where construction is being made totally automated. So human intervention is very much required. But our job rotation plan, job rotation policies, and its strict adherence, and everything has been now we have done through the virtual mode, and all are being in place through AI. So we can at any point of time understand the type of learning and the percentage of learning into the field where we have hired those graduate engineers. And we are having a very robust job rotation plan. We are rotating, and more so, we are having a very robust, structured way of training and development plan for the GETs.
Yeah,
So,
that is very good. And
so
this robust training plan, and that is where even the institution can participate. I mean, if L&T has various institutions, education institutions as their associates, and maybe in the final year, if that finishing kind of an training, right, can be done, that probably will help in the induction process, selection and induction
yeah,
process.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We are having certain amount of good faculties. They are being called also to your place to teach them certain amount of which we had did. I did in the some of the diploma engineering colleges. Those who have requested us that you please send someone with a good faculty or good resource person to address certain areas which the teachers or the lecturers are not actually because they have to complete the entire curriculum based on the book suggested to them. But practical areas, some of the areas where the industry experts can give the inputs, that can be always think of, so that at least students are having certain ideas of various disciplines
Right.
uh,
Very good.
to
I will request Sudeep
address.
if you can see participants, you can use your chat and submit your questions or your queries. And I will request Sudeep if you can just collate on such cluster of questions, and maybe you can also share after some time to the
Definitely,
house.
sir.
Yeah. So, Mr. Mujumdar, we are getting back to you. It is very interesting to listen to you, and how, as an industry, you also have been partnering with institutions to train and equip the students with the right set of knowledge and skills. Now, you were talking primarily on the L&T infrastructure point of view, which is largely civil. But L&T as a conglomerate, as an industry giant, engineering giant, you have a requirement from different streams of engineering, right?
Yes, very true. Because particularly we are business are being verticalized, but at the same time, uh, we are having, because infrastructure is getting a major thrust uh, as per the government of India, uh, their mandate. So infrastructure sector, particularly the heavy bridges, roads, runways, these are the areas where also the defense is also playing a very major part. So all these areas, obviously there will be demand, where there will be recruitment.
Lovely. Wonderful. Now, we also have Mr. Vijay here back, and thank you very much for taking this trouble. And in spite of your odds, which I just heard, you made it a point to join us. And I'm sure in the wider interest of our young minds who are here today to listen to people like you, because see, the last 1.5 years have been difficult for learners in particular. And we were talking with Mr. Majumdar from L&T about the industry readiness and how it got hampered. And so we need to ensure that our learners, our engineers of tomorrow, they should stand confident. And I'm sure that the industry is also coming up with various other ways to collaborate and participate and help the learners to get that kind of a finishing training.
Okay.
So over to you, Mr. Vijay, on how you see this engineering education and this engineering industry getting geared, post this Corona pandemic thing.
See, definitely, I think, again, first of all, I want to apologize for the confusion. And, I have two sessions, at the same time, so I didn't realize the agenda was there. So I was, so I apologize. Thanks for accommodating, Sudeep, and thanks to you. And good afternoon to our esteemed panel and host, sir, yours, sir, Dr. Krishnendu Sarkar, sir. So basically, digitalization I think, is what driving and changing the industry now, I would say. Right, I think that is definitely a positive. What COVID has done is it is basically gave more impetus to digital mode of, and more importantly, the inorganic mode of learning. Okay, it's no longer going to be you have to go to a classroom, sit, someone is going to tell you what to do. So it's more of a self-paced, self-driven and very inorganic way of learning, where you can pick and choose what you want to explore and learn and sit and glue them together to see what you want to become. So from an engineering graduate point of view, what I would say is, an opportunity like this, where digitalization is being pushed to this speed at 10x time than what, it would have been without a pandemic. I would say we have to take this as a positive opportunity and see how much of it can be, leveraged to really widen the reach of this quality of education to the right audience with the right content. So those are my initial, thoughts around,
Yeah, we will be coming back to you specifically on your area,
Sure.
which is a matter of interest for not only the engineers, but also people with engineering minds.
Sure.
Right? They necessarily not be engineers by qualification,
Sure.
but I'm sure your area will offer a lot of interest to our budding engineers.
Absolutely happy.
And now you will be also happy, Mr. Vijay, that we have here Mr. Archan. Archan Mukherjee is our alumnus of BTech Computer Science, and he is also in your area. Maybe he's with network administration and is a team lead with TCS. Now, Archan, coming to you. How are you, first of all?
I'm fine, sir. I'm fine.
Great.
Sir.
And so you did your BTech with us in CSC, and now you are with TCS in an area networks administration and managing the team. So what are the typical gaps you find in the curriculum per se? Because you are relatively young with 5 years. So, how do you see the gaps? I mean, what more you have to do and how you have to continuously learn to keep yourself ready with your job requirements?
Thank you, Krishnendu sir, for asking this question, and good afternoon to all of you. And I think my respected teachers and faculties all are available here. So very good afternoon to all of you. And so as the question you have just asked me, that is, from the starting of my career, if I consider that as a computer science engineer, in this robust, or you can say globalized world, that what kind of profile I want to choose or I want to work with. So that is the main important thing here. So from that point of view, if I consider when I started my this job career, so it was a quite confusion that whether I will go with the software development or I will go with the networking development or I'll go with the hardware, AI, whatever it is. So first of all, I think it is up to a person or up to a student when he is passing from this college, and what kind of subject he want to learn, and he want to what kind of in you can say his passion is about the subject. So from that point of view, I think it is quite, I mean, it is very much important to understand the new technologies on your domain. Suppose if I have chosen that networking field as my job career. So from that point of view, when I started my networking journey, I started as a field engineer. From there, right now I'm working. After that, I got promoted to, I mean, you can say senior officer IT, and now I'm as a network administrator from there. So everyday system and technologies are changing, and it is something like that. It is giving us that opportunity to be more we can say efficient each and every day, and be not only efficient, be professional, and whatever from smart point of view, you'll have to smart in this.
Right.
So when I started,
so you have to be a continuous learner,
lifelong
learner.
Not only that, you'll have to be understand what industry wants right now. You'll have to understand
so
it
industry is helping you with your continuous learning and continuous training and upgrade.
Right now it's quite not like that. So I believe industry will put you in kind of situation that you will have to go through it.
Yes. So it is basically that industry will offer you a problem, and as engineer, the best thing you can do is to solve that problem. And in that process, you have to learn, relearn, and make a headway. Now, coming back to again, Mr. Vijay, see, you have been a mechanical engineer.
Yes.
And from mechanical engineering to the epitome with cyber security, and that too with Qualcomm,
right,
and leading the mission. I mean, what was your journey like? I mean, why this shift? And what, first of all, let me tell you. So the mechanical engineers who are listening to you today, and maybe even the civil and the other branches which are remotely related to, say, the field of cyber security. Right. I mean, what do you want to tell to them? That as engineer, you are flexible, you have that logical mind, and you can take up any role or any problem in life.
Absolutely. I think, thanks for pointing that out. And see, my story is kind of a little bit interesting, in a way that, in my way, when I graduated, in 92, 93, I know some of you guys, the students may not have born at the time. Mechanical engineering, I was the only company that was hiring was Kirloskar at the time. So I remember going for an interview at Kirloskar, and I got rejected. And I was talking to my seniors and said, hey, why don't you go apply for a US university? Then I went and applied for Detroit. Detroit happened to be a car headquarters because that's where all the cars are designed. So I was passionate about cars. So I applied for there and I got in. But once I arrived in Detroit, then people are saying, boss, if you want to get a job in US, the mechanical engineering is not the vertical to be. Now you have to be in computer science, because that's where computer science, is a booming industry. And if you really want to, at the time I come from this middle class family and a bank loan coming to US, and then I thought, am I really fit for mechanical engineering? From mechanical engineering to computer science, am I really fit? So that is the first time I got a taste of introspection. One of my seniors said, and this is what I wrote in my book also, is what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your aspirations, right? What are your drivers, right? And basically it made me look at do more self-analysis to understand, yes, I can be fungible. Because when I look back, I studied in Telugu medium until 10th class, which happened to be my mother tongue. Then I engineering in English medium. And then when I moved to Hyderabad, then the local language is pretty much a combination. So the fungibility factor is required. So long story short, today the industry is looking for, irrespective of the specialization you are in, they're looking for a foundational skills. The foundational skills are cognitive skills, which are like analytical thinking skills, critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, creativity skills. And at the same time, they are looking for you to have the emotional intelligence. There's a saying that IQ can get you a job. But if you want to stay in the job, you need to have the emotional quotient and you need to have the adaptive quotient. Right? So going back to answer, the foundational skills is what, irrespective of the domain that you are mastering and majoring in, imagine the future skill is like a comb shape. They are looking for both breadth and depth in multiple places. So if you need to develop the appetite to play as an opening batsman or the middle order or as a tail ender.
Oh, I
Right?
take from a cue from your this cricket analogy.
Sure.
That is a very good thing which you said, and I'm sure that this one line is worth thousands of words. Now, let me come back to this big engineering giant L&T and Mr. Majumdar being the regional head of HR. Now, do you have this as part of policy, wherein if say an engineering graduate who has joined you, are you offering them also a kind of a room or a flexibility to pursue interdisciplinary pathways or be part of interdisciplinary teams and move from one silo, from your L&T one vertical to other vertical? Is this cross pollination also happening at the HR level?
Yeah. Let me share you have to, because in order to
Yeah, you
answer
have to
this
again
particular,
put your microphone little closer.
in order to answer this question, we have to go through the little bit about the historical part and historical culture of the L&T. So our organization is a very big organization with a traditional value system. It is not a very organization with a lot of tech savvy people are there, but it's an organization with a traditional value system. Though of late there are certain verticals like L&T Infotech or the L&T Technological Services where the IT peoples are working like the other IT companies. But the L&T construction per se or the L&T group of companies, there are other verticals are also there. Cultures are little bit traditional. So movement from one place to another place or cross pollination that you are talking about, little bit taking a back seat. I should not say it's not happening, but it's not. There is no such structural way of addressing that particular issue. But of course, that as name suggests, L&T, learning and training, we in a very jokingly we are talking about L&T means learning and training. So a lot of learning and trainings are happening, which in order to hone the potentiality and competence of the trainees, those who are joining from the campus. At the same time, because our construction industry is still labor intensive, despite the various implementation of the AI or other sorts of various digitalization measures, the industry is still labor intensive industry. So,
Mr. Majumdar,
yeah,
I have I have on my screen in my computer, I'm saying the 14 best engineering jobs for future 2020 onward and beyond. Now they begin with something, and it will be interesting for Mr. Vijay and also Archan, you are here, young guy. Now just guess what can be that number one.
Sciences.
But let me tell you, it is to do with solar photovoltaic installers.
I
You
see.
know, so this is something, the renewable energy is a big thing.
Yes.
So in the
Sustainable energy.
house, participants, take note of this fact that something like if you are into SPV, right, photovoltaic modules, or into energy systems, so that you are in the right space. You're in the right space, and I'm sure even in construction, Mr. Mojumdar, you will also agree. There's a lot of solar which is involved in the
Yeah,
buildings,
yeah, yeah. Solar.
right?
Now hardly people.
But we are not manufacturing base in India. So we have to basically, we are exporting the raw materials and we are basically importing the finished goods. That's it. The sorry part of the story. But then there's a lot of engineering which is there in SPV space. And
Yeah,
then the second part, which also surprised me, was to again do with renewable energy, and do with turbines. Again, an energy system wherein if you are good with this wind energy and the turbines or mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and put it into as a wind turbine modules. And at the diploma, for the diploma students also, you can be service technicians. So this is a area which is of demand and for the next decade. So, it is not IT per se, which we all believe, but the first two are something which has surprised all of you, I'm telling you. Now, the third one which I see is obviously software developer and engineers. So this is something which Mr. Vijay also said, that if you are having a logical mind, engineering mind, irrespective of your stream, either civil or even mining or metallurgy, but still you can participate in IT space. It offers you a lot of room to design, to develop. And today, all your systems in engineering, be it mechanical system or any other manufacturing system you take, they come up with a lot of embedded technologies, and there is a lot of software inside, right? Then comes biomedical. They require biomedical engineers. So if you are looking for higher education after BTech, I think this is one area which probably you can consider, especially the electrical and the electronics guys. You can check on this as a very important area. Biomedical engineering is very important. Chemical engineering, which we all thought that probably it is having kind of the priority is little down as far as future is concerned in India. But this is a global this thing. Let me tell you, it's a global analysis, not India per se. It may vary from country to country, but overall, the global scenario is the chemical engineers will be in demand in the next decade, right? And then comes civil. So it makes Mr. Majumdar very happy that civil engineer, obviously, it is a primary part of that primary color. So civil engineering will always be the core of engineering. So it is very much there in the next decade. And interestingly, we also see electrical and electronics, which is coming up in a big way. So likewise, environmental engineering. So this is something for the civil engineering students in particular and engineering in general. This is one area which probably you can also look forward to as part of your higher study or specialization. And then industrial engineering, and then comes the marine engineering and naval architects and things like that. So overall, this is what the global scenario is. It was important for us to put the global scenario forward so that we can again bring back you guys, and Mr. Vijay, you are here. So, how do you see this, how we can re-engineer the engineering curriculum or the engineering education? As you rightly said that you are a 1992 pass out and I'm also 89 pass out. So we are probably from the old schools of engineering, right? And since you are with Qualcomm, which is again a global company, and you are in a very specialized area, so how do you see this engineering education? Already it has evolved a lot from the days when we were studying. And what more this engineering education can do, because the climate is good. Government of India is now driving its national education policy, and the handle is transforming education. So here is an opportunity also for the industry and the institutions to think about a new form of partnership and to transform the country, and by transforming the engineering education.
Absolutely,
So
sir.
in this scenario, what are your projections, Mr. Vijay? And what are your recommendations?
I think the best way to really make engineers as real problem solvers. I think engineering is all about problem solving, sir. As you and I, we were told engineering, the famous example, right? From 3 Idiots, machine ka definition do, right? right? Machine makes things easier. We need to go in that approach. A machine or engineer is someone who simplifies a problem, whether it's a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer or electronics engineer, right? So in order for us to do that, I think the curriculums has to be more case study oriented. Like if you look at MBA schools today, they talk about 2 companies got acquisitioned and they want the students to go analyze. Okay, this company acquired this company. Can you please analyze end to end? What are all the legal issues, profitability issues, maintainability issues, and compliance issues, regulatory issues? Can you go and they come and present at the end of the day and say, so that is a case study based approach of learning versus a concept based approach. I think concept is automatically, if you go to schools in US, I remember one of the programming sessions, he asked us to create a distributed databases. He didn't teach us anything about distributed database. He said, go and do this case study. And once we do the case study, automatically we know about distributed database. I think the case study oriented learning is number 1. And number 2, I would say, how we can get people to innovate, right? Today, and I'm going to be a little direct on that with due respect to the system here. I'm feel proud to be an Indian, always wear my Indian flag on my badge. Today, our education system is predominantly left brain centric. Okay, it basically drives logic by heart, but it is not right brain centric, where people are asked to innovate, experiment, right? Because we're all in this race कि जल्दी से marks बनाओ, number लेके आओ, pass करो, job लेके आओ, खत्म, right? But there is no appetite for experimenting and doing things differently. So how do we promote that right brain oriented innovation? We need some innovation oriented forums where we can encourage innovation. And we say degree में आपको 40% number आया, लेकिन आपका innovation number 1 आ गया. Like 3 Idiots, again, I go back to the favorite 3 Idiots, where this guy innovates a drone system that can do surveillance at that time. That is like 15 years ago. A drone system can do surveillance, and the professor throws it in the trash, says this system has no use. But honestly, that is innovation, right? Because he got something new out of the box. So we need to have the engineering colleges should encourage innovation, not for the sake of it, but I think for the reality, and there should be a grading system and say the projects that they submit at the end of the year cannot be a copy paste projects. The projects has to be real. And we need to tell these folks in engineering, okay, sustainability is a great point. Number 1, solar cell. How do you make solar cells that are more effective, that can take sunlight much efficiently, and they can store the energy much longer time? If we can give that as a project to students, and if they can demonstrate that, then honestly, that will go for a bigger bang. So number 1 is real-time case studies. Number 2 is innovation. And number 3, really make these projects a lot more hands-on. Just don't make it naam ke vaste, and give a grading system, not just for the marks, but the application of knowledge. And lastly, students also have to think, guys, if you want to have a passionate, successful profession, right, and you are just joining a job just for salary, for money, without having your strength or passion applied, then your life will have no real sense of purpose, right? So you need, and then the life will become routine after some time. But if you want to have the light in your energy in your life, teaching is your passion, or experimentation is, you need to really, once you start finding forums to apply that, then engineering is the best place to be, because you can really invent multiple things, solve many problems. If you last closing comment, sir, today in the news, we always talk about problems. We need solutions. Okay, we have बारिश के दिन में water. Summer ke din mein pani nahi. We all look at the TVs and we'll say, what do you do? But engineers can solve it. How do we get better rainwater harvesting? Or how do we really come up with eco-friendly cities? Right? How do we recycle water? Right? There's so many solutions. I think we should really think about solutioning mode, and that's where critical thinking comes into play. Remember, engineers, you are all problem solvers. You are complex problem solvers. You bring things. Apollo 13, the movie, you see the movie Apollo 13, where they go to space and they found out they cannot come back unless they have this many amounts of watts in that space shuttle, and they figured it out. They figured out to bring a human being using the recyclable content back to earth. That's what the power of human brain. We have the great capacity. And I will give you a last simple example. There is this farmer's son. Always is, every time this farmer grows sugarcane. And every time when the sugarcane grows, elephants come and destroy the sugarcane thing. And the farmer's son is an engineer. Instead of applying knowledge, he said, what will scare elephants? He go and did a critical thinking and found a solution that elephants are afraid of bee sounds, honeybee sounds. So he recorded honeybee sounds and he played the honeybee sounds in the night, and the elephants never came back. There is no hard and fast solution. He found a very simpler solution. So that is what, a creative solutions. I think, please, you are in a beautiful profession. If you can really apply your mind in the right way, you can solve tons of problems out there, that world needs from you. Yeah.
Very well said. Very well said. You are a very passionate man. The reason why you have shot up to the leadership position, right? Please continue the good work, and we require people like you to not only stimulate that energy and that light of life, because see, whatever you said, I'm sure that the people present here, they have understood in the right perspective. What you're talking about is that engineering is the best place to be still. Absolutely. Because there had been a lot of talk about India producing hordes and hordes of engineers every year. And somewhere down the line, people are left with a perception that in view of the employability thing shrinking, probably the engineering education is not that relevant vis-a-vis the yesteryear. But what you said, Mr. Vijay, is that engineering is still the best place to be. So can we continue this line and get back to Mr. Majumdar and also to our alumnus Archan, that is engineering still the best place to be? Mr. Majumdar?
Yeah, obviously the engineering, as rightly pointed out by Mr. Vijay.
Again, your microphone needs to be a little nearer to you.
That Mr. Vijay just now told that solution of the problems, only the engineers can give it to the society. Yeah, I am fully agree with that. I am on the same page. Only thing that we will be requiring some good engineers who are really passionate. That passion needs to be there. Otherwise, it will be a mundane subject. At least passion, innovation, and the drive for the result or achievement orientation must be there. If they are not loving the subject, then there is a potential disconnect.
So how do you see that trend? Because you have been watching closely and been involved with the campuses and recruitments. So how do you see the trend? How do you see the graph of that engineering energy? Is it on the upswing, or you feel that it requires a bit of an external stimulations from the industry side?
From my angle, I have joined the organization almost 13 years back, and I have seen the engineers from the scratch, how they are growing and how they are moving to the career ladder to a good position, or maybe a position where they are on the leadership role. So what I have seen that nowadays, I don't know, this is maybe a demand of the generational cohorts, or maybe other various factors are playing the role, or environmental factors are playing a role. Nowadays, we are not getting a quality engineers. We are not getting a quality engineers, or even if they are, if those passionate engineers are there, they are having a tendency maybe not to stay along with the organization. Want a very quick, faster career, least possible effort.
So there is not a quick fix solution for today's engineers. I mean, people are looking for a very short-termist approach.
Very short-term approach, because I am telling you, when I have seen the aspirations of a young engineer in the year 2010-11, at that point of time, when I was used to visiting the sites and project localities, their demand was at that point of time, aspiration was a reasonably good cot with a good amount of facilities, maybe a good food. Thereafter, it changed course that we need certain sofa or the good LCD TV. Thereafter, that demand
I know.
moved to a Wi-Fi, and now finally the Facebook and all they want to use. But the
It will be
problem is,
nice if we can also have Archan here. Archan,
no,
when you were a student, with us, doing your BTech computer science, when you joined, what were your aspirations? When you got your first job, what were your aspirations? And now that you have spent 5 years with industry, with TCS, what are your aspirations? Can we all have you as our case study, right? And please be very frank and candid, because
sure.
most of the participants will relate with you, right? So yeah, over to you, and we are very keen to hear from you.
It's a really great question for me, and you can say it's a live experience from my side. That yes, when I started my job career, my aim was to be a you can say that I was just looking for a place where I can efficiently contribute my skill, and I want to implement something. I mean, you can say I look for a new thing each and every day. There should be new, and there should be something punchy, which create a bang for the industry, something like, or at least for my company. I look every day, look for that. So from that point of view, I started my career, and after that, every day I you can say each and every day I spend my each and every night. I can say I see that every day it is changing drastically, and it's not like drastically. You can say every technologies are upgrading, and you'll have to be efficient. What I understood at
So
that point, you'll have to be most
what Mr.
efficient
Vijay
and
said
smart.
about adaptive quotient. So you were adaptive, right?
Correct.
Good.
Correct, sir. And I believe it is the best. It's my from my point of view, it's the best way to be. I can say if you follow engineering, engineering is your passion, then I think it is the best way to be a good engineer, a smart engineer. You can say
Yeah,
you
tell
have to
us
be
about your
adaptive.
aspiration. Don't shy. Don't hesitate.
So
What do you
as
want
I
to be
just
in life?
told you, sorry, sir.
10 years from now, where do you see yourself?
I actually don't look for a position as of now, and not from beginning of my career. I just look for a opportunity, you can say, where I can every day can implement something new, and it, as I just told you, it should be a smart and efficient for my organization company. I'm giving you an example. When I was working with Asian Paints as a senior officer IT, I was just handling the entire IT infrastructure of a plant. You can say the production unit of Asian Paints. So there I observed within a couple of 2 or 3 months, I observed there are so many lags which I can feel with my ideas. So from there, one day I noticed there were forklifts, some forklifts. So they were using some expensive devices. It was VMT, vehicle mounting terminal, and all those things. So as per my experience on accessing networking and all those things, and having access to the efficient tabs and industrial rugged tabs. So what I did, I just changed that to industrial rugged tab, including you can say AI. So what that was the, you can say it was a drastical change for that particular unit, that there was no human interaction at all. There was a centralized server, and it is fetching the data from the server and the you can say cranes, and from there it is just taking the pallets and it is putting to the trucks and all those things. So it is what has a drastically changed for that company, and
That's
I
very
can
good.
say
So
that
are you going
yeah.
for IP?
Sorry, sir, I'm going for
IP, intellectual property?
no, as I told you, sir, just don't look for that kind. I don't have that kind of, I mean, aim for in my life. I just
Good.
look for an opportunity.
Great.
Always I look for an
So
opportunity.
I know that for you, the opportunity is the right problem.
Yes,
So
sir.
and you are solutions driven, and that is what I believe that light of life which Mr. Vijay and also Mr. Majumdar was talking about, why it is so very important. Thank you so much, Archan, for being with us today, and I'm sure that you
Sir.
have made the juniors who are present here quite proud of you. Keep up your good work. Now we are in the final finishing, and I want to come back to Mr. Majumdar and then finally to Mr. Vijay for maybe a final kind of a nutshell view on exactly what can be those three things which a Gen Z or maybe tomorrow a Gen Alpha, this new generation, how they and the institution of engineering and the industries like Qualcomm and L&T and TCS, can there be, thanks to the digital ecosystem, can we look forward to a new kind of a partnership? Now, in that new kind of a partnership, what can be those three educational codes which can prepare our generation today and the generation next as the best of engineering minds and engineers which the country can boast once again? Over to you, Mr. Majumdar. Crystallized your HR, this thing, have a quick round of all your IITs and NITs recruits, and you just heard an NSHM person who has invented a solution and helped this become, right? So great minds can come from any source, not only from those coveted brands, right? So what can be those three things which institutions need to do along with the industry and the environment per se, the employability environment per se? Yeah.
No, as I told you that in the beginning itself, that firstly, that one of the areas can be the calling the some of the resource person in the colleges itself who are actually doing the some of the works day in and day out, in order to give your students the better idea, practical idea. Because it's not good to see the show the students the gloomy picture, but at the same time world is not that rosy as well. So certain aspects that we need to show them, that is one of the part.
So one
Second
has
part
to
can
be,
be a
so
summer
as an
internship.
institution or as teachers of engineering colleges, we have to adapt to the changes. We cannot be conservative that, okay, my
Yeah.
syllabus or my curriculum is written on stone. It is approved by so and so regulatory body, and we are supposed to follow that or whatever. So we need to be adaptive. That is what you're saying as the first important thing.
Yeah, yeah, little bit adaptive, at the same time sometimes innovative. Some
Innovative.
innovative, sometimes of innovation needs to be nurtured, as my one of the panelists, Mr. Vijay, told that case study based approach.
Absolutely.
So case study based approach is another part wherein the interns can have their internship projects in the various construction companies or the construction giants, where they can practically experience what type of challenges are there in the construction field. Because since I am working with the construction organization, I have seen the hardship of the construction life.
Now, since you
L&T,
are also in touch with AICT and the other educational bodies,
yeah,
and when you said that L&T today is best known as learning and training, now would you like to recommend to those regulatory bodies of education that instead of 1 year of common core which engineering has, in our days also the year one was common. Today also the year one is common. Can we have at least one more year which can be part of general engineering? Because seeing the trends that you have so much of shift from a particular domain to absolutely a diametrically opposite domain of employability, a mining engineer into in Infosys, right? So it is a complete shift. So can we not have an extended period of general engineering education, and then we can come to maybe a elective based specialization on the next 2 years? Because the first 2 years, let a participant decide that whether a particular stream will be of his or her interest or not, instead of deciding it in the year one itself before joining. What is your take on this? It is transformative. It has not been done in the country, but can we go ahead in at least advocating in these lines to bring in more transformation?
no, here I am having a differing opinion, because already since there is a quality wise we are not getting a good people, particularly in the construction. Number two, the retention rate is quite on the lower side. So retention is another problem. So now if the choice are being made, if the choice for the first 2 years, so then they will be having ideally 2 years time to hone their specialization. So that may not be a good idea from my industry angle. So
Okay,
that is one of the areas I would like to share.
lovely. Very good, very good. Thank you. I think those are important points which you mentioned about not being into a gloomy world. I mean, we can have a pandemic which can get converted to an endemic. So we have to live with this kind of a thing. But as you all said, that as humans, we are basically, we have the survival instinct and we are innovative. The only thing which education can provide, engineering education in particular, is the right kind of triggers, the right kind of a problem, right? And then the facilitation and the mentoring. The teachers today in engineering have to be more like a trainer who is probably speaking the least in the class,
Uh,
and then let the class and let the learners do something impossible according to them, like Mr. Vijay did with distributed databases when his professor said that, okay, go ahead and do it. I'm not teaching you this.
Dr.
So,
Krishnendu, one thing I
ah,
would like to share to all the students, those who are present,
ah,
that since you have already almost on the verge of the pass outs, whatever the job, whatever the opportunity you are getting, try to love your job. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to sustain. Not only sustain, it will be difficult for you to innovate, solve the problem, because those who are alumni of your college, like Mr. Orchan, obviously he has loved his job. That is the reason maybe he is in the position to give the solution, maybe in the position to innovate certain aspects. Until and unless
absolutely,
you are devoting, until and unless you devote yourself wholly into the job and immersed yourself in the job field, it's very difficult for you to innovate, very difficult for you to then please do not blame the organization and organizational environment. First,
absolutely,
first 2 to 3 years, you have to devote yourself into the totally into the job. You will
absolutely,
grip the job. Then you have, slowly you have the potential. You will get the result. Until and unless
absolutely.
you are spending a time with the company,
Right.
it's very
As
difficult.
professionals, we have to love the profession which we are
Yes,
in
yes,
and try to achieve innovative outcomes which make you visible in the crowd, right? Now, the final words from Mr. Vijay, and you have been so passionate, and I have been really hearing you and connecting with you a lot with your story, and I'm sure the participants in the house today are also feeling the same with you. So, wish you guys have been, been with us before also in our classrooms and inspiring
Absolutely,
our
absolutely.
students.
Yeah.
And this should be, I believe, part of a new code, wherein minds like Mr. Vijay, Mr. Majumdar, you are part of this grooming of the next generation of engineers in terms of their mindsets. Now, given this digital ecosystem, it is now quite good for us to have you maybe in any part of the day. So it can be evening hours
Yes.
after your work, and our students from other colleges can also join maybe a midnight class with Mr. Vijay or Mr. Majumdar.
Why not?
Because
Why
see,
not?
every day is a new day,
Absolutely.
and little changes, it does matters. Rather than having a seminar once every year or a meet like this once in a blue moon, probably doesn't impact that way. So I think that can be one of the new code
Absolutely.
to have more such conversations as part of our engineering routine.
So thank you. Absolutely. I think you need to have mentoring Saturdays or tech Saturdays or industry Saturdays or something like that, where every Saturday you're having, and we do that through my NGO called S Mentor. We bring industry experts to come and talk to the to students anywhere in the country. But anyway, to closing comments, guys, engineers here on this call, you are the future of the country. Engineers build this country. If you look at the major dams, to atomic energy, to satellites, engineers are the ones build this country. So you have to believe yourself that engineers, the mindset of engineering, what is engineers? Engineers, you are problem solvers. And you can do better by applying the 3 C's. I'm giving you 3 simple solutions. 1 C, curiosity. Have curiosity. No, try to identify even how does a phone work? How does a fan work? How does a grinder work? Right? Have curiosity in everything that you do. Look at engineering in everything that you see. How does a fountain pen works? How does a regular pen works? How does a thermometer work? Have curiosity. Look at engineering in everything, in your school, at your house, at your college, the things that you use every day. That is, have the curiosity quotient. Second C is have creativity quotient. Have creativity. Then creativity is all about, can I do this differently? Can I do this better? Creativity is about innovation and invention together. Invention means inventing something new. Innovation is making something better, right? So you continuously apply the second. As engineers, you can always do that. Remember the simplest example of an engineering student I gave, who found a solution to chase away the elephants by using the
Honeybee.
right? Honeybee sounds. It's innovation, right? Look at the way where I show a picture where a farmer found a way to recharge his cell phone using solar cells, right? So that is innovation, right? So the second C is innovation, and third C is having that consistency, right? You need to have that mindset. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to be, consistently or steadily or constantly keep looking at solutions, not the problems, right? If you have that mindset, I'm sure, right, you can bring wonders. You can go to a job and say, you're curious about your job, you bring creative solutions into the job, and you're continuously and constantly having that continuous improvement mindset to make things better, right? And that's what I encourage. I really wish, I want to see India coming up with the next big solution of 3D printing, where you can print houses, right? Where you print factories, where you print toys. 3D printing is coming, modular manufacturing is coming. So there's a lot of opportunity. India should become the manufacturing hub, the electric hub of the world, and you guys are the future. I really believe everybody, every engineer in India has the potential, has the opportunity, provided we spark, we ignite the spark or fan the fire in them. So I'm here to fan the fire in you so that you will transfer and become another Abdul Kalam and another Baba, who invented the atomic energy here. So thank you, sir. That's my closing comments to you. Over to you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful closing remarks. And I'm sure that the House had really been getting good insights and nice takeaways from today's session. And the most important thing will be to use these insights to ensure that how we can bring in more partnership in kind of in the digital ecosystem and continue conversations like this. That is what our panelists want, that, your conversation should continue, bring different elements and features from the industry through, the captains of different sectors of industry. And this is how the engineering education can get transformed. Now, national education policy, the transforming education mandate of Government of India and Ministry of Education, all will make greater sense if we are able to transform ourselves from just being a go-getter to a change maker. And that is the engineering in us, and the drive in us, which can show us the way. Today's discussion was with a lot of positivity. All of you talked about those positive aspects, those opportunities in form of problems. The opportunities are with solutions.
Absolutely.
Thank you once again, each one of you. Personally, I was so delighted to be here and listening to all of you. Thank you, Archan. Keep up your good work. Keep up your good work and walk your aspirations. And
Yes,
with your aspirations will be your other friends who are studying engineering, your juniors, they will also try to emulate you. And to all in the engineering education ecosystem, please involve people like Mr. Vijay, people like Mr. Majumdar, and make it a part of your routine, the way you place a routine, a teaching routine. You should also dedicate few teaching cells.
Absolutely.
Maybe the Saturday, which Mr. Vijay rightly said, every Saturday can be the day which you have to have a conversation with the industry. And this is how probably we can transfer our minds and we can transform our country. Thank you once again so very much.
Sure. I did, posted my book that I authored, sir, and I'd love to email you my book to you, sir, Dr. Krishnendu, sir.
Sure, we would love to share your book.
Yeah.
Mr. Vijay's book will be shared to all of you.
Yeah.
And your questions which you have put in, to Mr. Sudeep are getting collated. And we would love to also send maybe those hang of certain questions to either Mr. Vijay and also Mr. Majumdar to get a quick answers by email from them and again communicate back to you. Is it okay with you all?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your time and the motivating words. And thank you. It was a pleasure to have you all with us. Thank you all for attending and being a part of this session. I hope that it was igniting for us and all our students have learned and enjoyed it a lot. On behalf of NSHM Knowledge Campus and our presenters, thank you for joining us today and have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Happy Independence Day. Thank you.
Happy
Thank you.
Independence Day.
Same to you, sir.
Glory to India. Bye.
Bye.